Hello, Tamas.
Hi, Petra. How are you?
I'm
Nice-
fine, thank you. So sorry I'm late.
I look
But
so red. I went to the sun today.
oh, is it? Was it nice outside?
Today was gorgeous. It was our
Really?
first day. That was, I think, 22 degrees.
Oh, wow.
It was really a lovely day. And
Mm.
you, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Yeah, here was a bit rainy and cold,
Oh,
and it doesn't seem to give us a bit of sunshine today.
it will come. It will come.
Tell
Every
me
day.
what all the great news.
So I went to Florence and
Yeah.
I met with this is a lady called Rosanna Broccanello, and then her
Yeah.
colleague is Daniel Tassini. I'll have to look up his name,
Yeah.
Daniel. And the two of them, they run a small company, and then there is also a school attached.
Yeah.
And this is an Italian system, so it's not really a program where they can give a BA or an MA or any kind of really
Oh, okay.
professional
Yeah.
credentials, but they have very good facilities, and they
Mm.
have a bit of a freedom to do what they want to do and how they'd like to
Oh,
do it.
okay. Mm.
And so they've already had a 3-year long kind of a professional training. And they do have very good dancers. Of course, in Italy, there's a lot of very good young people who came through the doors.
Mm.
And so they have some very good people who went to very good companies afterwards. And this 3-year training program, the last year was kind of the roundup, really the pre-professional
Oh,
training.
okay.
And then there was a young choreographer who's done this program already,
Mm.
and he's been doing it, I think, for 7 or 8 years. And then his name's Samuele Cardini, and he
Mm.
decided that now it's enough. He's done it long enough, and they asked me if I would like to take it over, and I said, sure, if I can do what I want to do,
Yeah.
then I will.
Mm.
And so we'll start. This is the first year, and then we'll see how we can progress.
That's
And I,
wonderful.
yeah,
But the last time we spoke, it was there was not this happening, and it was sort of all still wishing for you, wasn't it? That you wanted to do this exactly what you are doing, your program.
yes, I wanted
Yeah.
to create something that's, that it delves a little bit deeper into what is a usable and useful dancer, that they can really
Mm.
become themselves and become really genuinely good
Mm.
performers, so they can actually step into the professional world very well prepared. And
Mm.
so this is the main aim of this 1 year, that I will take most of the time with the dancers. I will teach them, but they will have, of course, their Italian teachers as well. And then apart from that, I will invite visitors from outside that can really help them to experience what is it like to work with outside choreographers. In
Oh, okay.
Italy, not really, they haven't done this anywhere yet,
Mm.
where they have really outsiders coming in to give them a real working experience.
So you're going to have them in their third year then of
Yes,
training. Oh,
yes,
okay. So that's the
yeah,
preparation then for the professional world.
yeah. The program is normally 3 years, but now we decided that even if these dancers who've already been there the first 2 years, we'll audition them for the third year. And then so they will be mixed with outsiders and people who come from elsewhere. So that vibe changes already. So they have a little bit, they have to
Oh,
work for
okay.
it. And as
Mm.
well, it will be a group that's a little bit more mixed. So they also see already outsiders, and then we kind of mix a little bit of what's in the room. So they have a different
Mm.
view of where they are in the larger scheme of things.
Okay.
Yeah.
But now explain also a little bit of this project or this program of yours and your views on dance and movement.
I see this, that we always get back to this idea of the body-mind connection,
Mm.
of where that is. And I always see the difference between their dancers that are very good movers, so they have this great sense of their bodies, but then they are not really able to apply their sense of movement to a different quality or a different demand. And choreographers, especially in a varied repertory company, they're very, very different with their approaches of how they create. The process of creation is different, and then the qualities are very different. So I'd like to prepare them to a level where they can easily click into any mindset
Oh,
of how
okay.
they listen and how they can sort of take is this act of listening. I
Mm,
think this is one of the most important things for our young dancers to understand how to listen, how to pick up what has a priority, what is the real importance that I have to get. And then from that gives usually a solid base to grow from.
mm,
So I'd like to get them to that level of understanding, and it really is physicality. And so
mm,
I have a lot of tools and a lot of exercises and ideas about how to train the body and
mm,
the mind to connect in a way that normally they're not really apt, even
mm.
after really good schools. I can trick dancers quite easily, I have to say. So I will make them not so easy to be tricked, or much
Oh,
more
okay.
acutely able to listen to
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
That, that's my.
So, and if you say about the movement, is it do you think there's a thing about ballet training specifically that restricts dancers in a way? You know, that there's this very strong technique building.
I would never say that it restricts them. It's ballet is a fantastic uh, base. It's a very, very solid training because it teaches you so much. It teaches you how to see, but generally people look in the mirror, so they see their own reflection. They really correct because of what they see in the mirror. Now that you might not be able to apply that to something where you have to do floor work. You really have to use the weight of your body as the swing, the volume, the velocity of movement. So you cannot look at it of what that looks like. It doesn't help. So you have to actually train completely differently to be able to do those things. So there is different ways of how your body is trained. And on ballet, it's also very interesting because most of the training is separate from the upper body to the lower body. You're
Mm,
almost completely separated. That this is torso and this is your legs. And in fact, there's a lot of the things that you have to really learn how to work arms and body and legs, everything in it as a unit. And ballet isn't excellent at that. Sometimes the jumps, if you do a double revoltade pull through something, then you need a certain understanding of how the whole thing works.
mm,
But for other things, it's much more static. There's a certain speed to it. And yeah, so it's a different, there are different ways of training also. And I
okay.
like to mix those things together. But ballet is,
Mm,
it's been proven. There's nothing wrong with ballet training. I love it. I'm
mm,
absolutely a ballet fan. I think it's a great base and it's very, very useful and usable.
mm. Now, I mean, I'm not a dancer, so I cannot tell, I cannot know what this feels like, but I'm thinking that, say, you mentioned something about, looking in the mirror and seeing the body and seeing the shape that you're making. But in that sense, don't you lose the feeling of, you know what I mean? If you keep looking at the
Mhm.
body, the reflection of the body, and to see what the body does, you don't necessarily feel what the body does. Do you need to
True.
feel that too? Do you need to feel the movement?
Yes, of course. The body, it gets ingrained in the body. You do it as long as you create a habit in the body, and then the habits have to be correct. So you can do it without the mirror.
Okay.
So this
Mm,
is the saying is like we are what we repeatedly do. So excellence
mm,
is a habit, not how you say, what is it? Excellence, therefore, is a habit
mm.
because we are what we repeatedly do. I think who
Oh
said that?
yeah,
I forgot. I
yeah.
think maybe
It is
Socrates.
something
I don't
like that.
remember.
Yeah.
But something like this, and it's very, very true. The body
Yeah.
has to be trained. So this is really
Mm,
training. But then you train the body to do the correct habits. And then it's
yeah.
also quite difficult to pull you away from those habits. So
Mm,
we want to create habits that can become somehow malleable and adjustable also,
mm.
so you don't get too stuck with them. But
Okay.
ballet training is very good at actually
Mm.
understanding how to form habits.
Yeah.
But it is a, I would always say it's more of a training, and I'm interested in an education, to say like,
Okay.
okay, well, when you're educated, you can use your training and use it in any other form. You can apply it to different things, not necessarily get stuck in the one form that you've trained
Mm.
in. So that's a big
Yeah.
difference to me.
So, and then when you're there, you said you work with outside choreographers as well, and do then is would that then be applying what you've taught them, or what they've learned
I
in this
want them
program?
just, it's just for them to experience different modes of working. So they
Mm.
understand that they have to shift their mindset, that this work is very different process than that one. And
Mm.
I cannot name yet the people that I'd like to invite. I have it in
Mm.
my head, but I cannot say
Mm.
them before I fix those things.
Yeah.
But I'd like to invite some good people that I know
Mm.
they're very trustworthy, and I know that they're at the top of their game. And so
Mm.
I just want these young dancers really to have completely different experiences. And that
Mm.
should also help them to understand, like, okay, now I have to apply myself very differently than I normally thought I could.
Mm.
It's, yeah, it's adaptability. That's
Mm.
basically is the name of the game in my mind. It's versatility and adaptability that
Mm.
makes you then gain always new influences and makes you much more hireable in a way. At the
Mm.
end, you'll have a better chance of applying yourself to whatever is your demand.
Yeah.
That's the main idea, basically.
Mm. But what was it what made you think, or develop this program?
My own experience,
Mm.
because I came out of this ballet school, which gave me a very, very solid base, but it didn't prepare me at all with some of the demands that I had. I
Mm.
mean, the first job that I had was I worked with Jan Fabre, and already there to enter into a room was a very, very different experience than anything I've ever had. It was really a completely different mindset of creative freedom, of trying absolutely different things. We had to pretend to be dying animals in a rehearsal. And
Mm.
for me, it was what do I do? Which animal?
Mm.
How do you do? No
Yeah.
idea. It was not within my range of thinking. And of course, through the experience, I learned a lot. And then
Mm.
went to Frankfurt Ballet, where the processes changed every single time. Every new production had a completely different creative process. And so
Mm.
that I really wasn't prepared for. That I really didn't know how to, once we went through one process, I thought like, oh, now I gained something, now I can go easier to the next one. And it was not the case. It was every single process was something entirely different. Bill was never doing the same thing twice. He was interested in what else is there, what else can we find. And so that's inspired me more than anything, to say
Mm.
like, well, that's a great experience to give it to young dancers already as much as possible, to
Yeah.
really this wide range of experiences.
Yeah.
That's my, yes,
But
that was my main idea.
yeah, yeah. And then you develop this program, and would you say it's about also thinking? Does it have to do with a lot of thinking, and like digging deep to find these
It does.
expressions
It,
almost?
it requires a certain mindset, I think, an
Yeah.
open-mindedness, that you accept that the demands are different,
Mm.
and that what I found, which is very interesting, that when you're engaged in a work,
Mm.
when you're really engaged, then you don't have time judging the process. You're absolutely not busy of like, well, I don't like this, I don't like that, like, oh, it doesn't feel good. You're
Yeah.
engaged, you're completely pulled into it. And I think that's exactly what I'd like to achieve, that I can pull these dancers into the process so much so that they're completely engaged. And so their
Mm.
mind is focused on the work that needs to be done. And they don't have time to judge the work in any way because they're busy doing it.
Mm.
And I think that's one of the greatest things that they can learn. That
Mm.
while you're working, you need to focus on the work at hand, not to pass any kind of Yeah, you can't judge it, but you can't think otherwise because you're busy doing it.
Mm.
So yeah, does it answer your question somehow?
That is amazing. Yeah, but that's an amazing way to say zone in on what you're doing. You know,
Yes,
to
yes,
because I think that is also in life it's like that. You know, sometimes we don't focus strong enough, so that there's so many other things that distract from
yeah,
really getting into this point, you know.
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
I read somewhere it's this thing where you know, where you take a magnifying glass and you let the sun come through,
Mhm.
and then it makes a ray
Yes,
of light that can
and
burn
burn.
wood.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yes, yeah.
And it's that
Yeah.
idea that I think that
A
you're
little
talking
bit like that, yes. It's a
about.
step by step. You focus on one thing, then the next thing, then the next thing, and then you add them together. And this is also what makes dancing so fascinating, because you do need that focus. I remember one of the most amazing performances I've seen Sylvie Guillaume doing Aschenputtel. What is it? Aschenputtel? Oh, shit, now I
Yeah.
forgot. Cendrillon.
Yeah. Now I
So,
know.
and she did a performance in Frankfurt.
I know the Afrikaans word is aspoestertjie, but now I can't keep on the English word as well.
Anyway, she's done this in Frankfurt,
Yeah.
and it was so amazing to watch her quite close, because you could see the concentration
Mm,
that she was in every moment. She corrected everything. She had to be present. There was no way that she could do it. But on top of it, because she was so present, she could also play. She was
mm,
very playful. She was very uh, yes, engaging, and really engaged the public, because we could see her focus and could see her playfulness in this role. And so
mm,
this is what I always want to get to, that you understand how to apply this clear focus, so it allows you then to be free, to take more risks, so you can allow to fall into something, and allow yourself to be generous of yourself.
mm,
One thing that I always remember also, that Billy used to say, that dancing happens when you allow yourself to fall.
mm,
Otherwise, it's just movement. Making movement and moving is different than dancing.
mm,
Dancing happens when you can allow yourself to fall into something, and there is this risk and the moment of recovery, and how you can almost stumble, but maybe your body catches itself. And that's when risk happens, and these risks become exciting to see. So,
mm,
so this is where I want to get these dancers, that they can allow themselves to take a little bit of risk, but calculated risk, and
mm.
not to fall, but know that there is this space where they can go. That's my excitement.
This is amazing
Yeah,
to
I
hear you
hope it
talk
will
about
be.
this. Yes, this is. I think it's a wonderful program. Yeah, I think it's. You know, just thinking about that, it's you can actually apply this to life as well.
Yeah,
Your attitude to it. Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Yeah. So when are you starting in Italy?
The program starts in September,
Yeah.
and we'll have an audition very soon in June 12th,
Mm,
and then hopefully another one a little bit later. Unfortunately, because of COVID, we couldn't do anything. There was no way of starting anytime sooner. So we'll try to do it like this,
mm,
and hopefully we'll get the number of students we'd like. I'd like to have around 15 people. And
mm.
then, if not right in the beginning, hopefully throughout the year, we'll find people who can join, and then we'll build the group, and we'll see how we can progress. But I think we'll be okay. It sounds like we'll be okay. We'll
Yeah,
find
I
it.
think slowly but surely everything is getting back to a new normal, I would
Yeah.
say.
Well, it's
Yeah.
just finding people that, I'd like to have a good group. I'm also
Yeah.
very interested that it's a group that can work well together. They understand also group dynamic, how to take care of each other, and what that really means of being in a company. You're a family, then you have to work together. So
Mm.
we'll try to
And
create
you
that.
will have then also performances with them?
They will have actually quite a lot of shows, but it's little shows. It's
Yeah.
mostly local performances in Florence. They have a couple of things set already now. There's at least 2 shows set, but we'd like to do more, and then we'll see what are the opportunities. Again, it's very, very late to start in the year to
Mm.
try to find performing opportunities, but some things we'll find, I think. If
Yeah.
nothing more, there will be studio performances open to the public, and
Mm.
we'll see. Generally, the problem had already a lot, but I don't know if I can produce those in the time I have.
Oh, I see.
So,
Yeah.
but we'll see. I think we can do it something. So.
And will you still be sort of doing your project on your own, you know, privately, or is it possible to contact you and for
Of
private
course.
lessons and so
Of
on?
course, of course. I mean, I will be in Florence. The idea is that I'm there as often as I can go, but I have other engagements already, so I have to honor those engagements also. And then Florence, ideally, I'd like to go 1 or 2 week periods, and then as much it's possible to be there for 2 weeks, so I can also work with my dancers, and I share the day with other teachers, so it's not only me the whole day. They
Yeah.
have me
Oh,
for
okay.
2 classes and then the other teachers for other classes, so they
Mm.
don't get oversaturated with Tamas also.
Oh. I don't think that's possible.
Well, if I work with the group, it can get quite exhausting. I say that because it really requires a certain type of focus that it
Yeah.
does, it can be challenging. I know it
Mm.
is. But that's, frustration is part of any process. You can't
Yeah.
avoid it. That's part of achievement. It's about working through things rather than just passing over them. So we'll
Yeah.
see. Yeah, that's the plan for now.
That's great. But I will anyway. I will check on Facebook your what you when you and please share on the artist's voice as well.
Yeah.
If there's something you can share, because this is such an amazing. I think this project of yours, or this technique is so interesting. Yeah.
Let's hope people pick up on it, because
Yeah.
I've been doing it for many, many, many years, but it's
Mm.
never been easy to apply to schools or programs that already exist, because
Mm.
it does need a certain type of focus, and it does need a certain amount of time until the dancers can switch. So if I go for 1 week and I have a couple of classes in the day, that never amounted to much. Unfortunately, it's a little bit of like smelling the top of an iceberg. But in this case, I can go a little bit deeper. So I'm very excited about that I
Mm.
actually will have time and I will have an opportunity to engage with these dancers
Yeah.
and then
I can
bring them up.
I can imagine that it is something that has to progress, you know, that it
Yeah.
has that it needs time to be understood and then to also developed in a dancer. Yeah. So,
In Frankfurt Ballet, we've used these ideas always. We had something called the foresight improvisational technologies, and there was not really a method, because it was just this collection of unbelievable amount of tools of all of these different people who came through and gave us all these ideas and all these tools, but it's never really been set into a methodology.
yeah.
So the methodology is pretty much what I bring to it. I understand where I'd like to start and how to progress. And so this is pretty much the first time that this is done that way. These
Mm.
foresight improvisational technologies that's been given in tiny little bits and pieces, many, many places, many of my colleagues use it, but it has never been part of an educational program as it is now, as I will use it.
As this, so this will be the first time that it's really in an educational program.
I think so. I mean,
Mm.
I wouldn't call it, to be honest, I can't say that this is only based on that, because the
Yeah.
foresight improvisational technologies, it could easily be a 3-year program in itself if we really wanted to go through all of the tools that we worked with and really spend ample time in going deeper into it. It does need that time, because that much. But this program, I think it will make very good use of that knowledge
Yeah.
and a great advantage to the dancers that learn that way. I'm sure of that. Yeah.
Mm. But great. Well, I'm going to look forward to
Thank
seeing
you.
more
Thank
of
you.
it. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was so lovely to talk to you again. And
Thank you so
please,
much.
yeah, we have to catch up during the program maybe, and you can tell
Yes.
also, you know, how it develops and so on, so that
Yes.
we can have sort of an update on what's going on.
We will post, of course, the
Mm,
moment that I know the exact dates and auditions and performances. Of course, I will
yeah,
post as
yeah.
always, and I will also look into that our marketing goes in a nice way, so people know about that this is happening.
Yes,
They should
yes,
be
definitely. Yeah.
part of it and come visit. And yeah, I'd
Mm.
like to have a really open door so people can come and see what we do and how we do
I
it.
think that's a great idea. Yeah.